Now at 6, severe storms slam the tri-state. Whipping winds uproot trees that crash into homes, and waterspouts spin just off the coast. The damage and what's coming next. Social distancing up in smoke. A neighbor's complaint reveals a pandemic pot party. And President Trump and Governor Cuomo one-on-one. Two of the most public faces of the coronavirus crisis meet at the White House. The message the governor had for the president. Good evening. I'm Chuck Scarborough.
And I'm Natalie Pasquarello. We're going to get to the president in just a moment, but we need to get to your weather.
One viewer captured waterspouts swirling off the coast of Mantoloking, New Jersey. And this is new video coming in from Toms River. Powerful winds tore through a neighborhood on Sharon Drive. 75-mile-an-hour winds toppled trees into homes and tossed trampolines on the power poles. In Lyndhurst, New Jersey, a tree came crashing down on a house in Valley Brook Avenue. A family was inside that house at the time, including a woman in her 90s. Fortunately, we're told that everybody was on the first floor and nobody was injured. One neighbor says she's been trying to get that tree cut down for a long time.
I said, this is a big tree. The only thing that's going to happen is it's coming down. And the way it was angled, it was going on his house. And it did.
A house behind this house also got hit. Workers are now trying to clean that scene up and make sure nothing else falls. And Storm Team 4's Janice Huss has been tracking these storms. And Janice, it's been a pretty wild day out here in North Stamford. A line of thunderstorms moved through here rather dramatically this afternoon.
Oh, yeah, Chuck. It was intense and dangerous for all of the tri-state area. That same line crossed just about every neighborhood with various types of weather, some not seeing much at all and some areas way too much, like you saw from those pictures there. Well, now Live Storm Tracker 4 is a lot quieter. There are some light rain showers over Fairfield County up towards Danbury, headed towards your house, Chuck, with some scattered light showers, nothing severe at all. The heavy rain, the severe weather is now offshore, moving into parts of New England. On the back side of this, though, there are some gusty winds. And even though the sun is out in many areas, you still may be seeing some gusty winds, not dangerous winds like what we saw today, but maybe gusts up to 50 miles an hour. There's also a freeze warning in effect tonight as cold air comes pouring in. Our view from the Bronx has some clouds and some sunshine mixed in. Will gradually clear out as we go through the night, but the temperatures drop. By tomorrow morning, we're in the 30s in the city, but it'll feel like the 20s with the wind, and the teens north and west of the city. Lots of cold air coming our way for April. I'll let you know how long it's going to stick around in the forecast in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Janice, we'll check back with you. Thank you. Let's get back to the coronavirus fight. There is cautious optimism about the state of hospitals. Today, Governor Cuomo said elective surgeries can resume soon at hospitals and places that do not face a risk of another surge in patients. That's an important step for individual health and for hospital financial stability. And tonight, word that New York Democrats might cancel the state's June presidential primary because of the virus. The state party votes tomorrow on that issue. The presidential primary was already moved once. New York would still hold congressional, state, and local primaries. Now, meanwhile, New York City is taking some action to make sure that hospitals can survive another pandemic without federal help. Mayor Bill de Blasio says the city will create a strategic medical reserve with critical hospital equipment and supplies as well. News 4's Andrew Siff live at the makeshift field hospital in Central Park with some of the other steps, Andrew, the city is taking now.
Right. And Natalie, the mayor talked today about building bridge ventilators. They can be used in the absence of a full ventilator, and about creating a huge stockpile so that for future pandemics, the mayor and the city wouldn't have to rely on the federal government. And speaking of the future, the mayor also talked about at the end of this entire coronavirus crisis, throwing a huge parade. Hard to believe this parade down the Canyon of Heroes, 1 million fans celebrating the women's soccer champs, was less than a year ago. Today, Mayor de Blasio said the next ticker tape parade here would honor doctors and nurses.
The first thing we will do before we think about anything else is we will take a time, as only New York City can do, to throw the biggest, best parade to honor these heroes.
His announcement attracted social media pushback, fearful of a second wave. Like this tweet, just don't do it prematurely and get everyone sick. But the mayor also made clear today there is a long road ahead, beginning with testing more New Yorkers who've battled the virus.
A little fever, fever, the dry cough, achy body.
Caroline St. Ange in line for a free COVID-19 test in Harlem.
I'm out here because I want to make sure that I'm safe.
Far too late, according to a Harlem pastor who said the city's poorest neighborhoods got overlooked.
It speaks to inequality. It speaks to the disparities that are common in the black and brown community.
The progress on testing arrives as New Yorkers grapple with an uncertain future. On the one hand, outdoor events like the Pride Parade are already canceled. On the other hand, promoters have yet to pull the plug on countless summer concerts, like the heavy metal band Slipknot or the pop singer Enrique Iglesias. Today, I asked the mayor if the 4th of July is still in play. Have you already begun discussions about whether there can be any kind of fireworks watching in New York City?
That one we have some time to sort out. Hard to see right now, but you know, Andrew, we're going to be looking at our indicators every single day to see where we're going.
Also, for the foreseeable future, field hospitals will remain up. The mayor says even if they don't need all of the beds, they could be used to quarantine COVID patients. We're live on the Upper East Side. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thanks for that update. We're now hearing from Governor Cuomo after his meeting with President Trump at the White House today. That meeting about the coronavirus happened just here within the past 2 hours. Let's get over to President Trump holding his daily coronavirus task force briefing. We want to talk to News 4 government affairs reporter Melissa Russo following reaction from the newsroom. Melissa.
Well, we haven't heard from the president yet on this meeting, but Governor Cuomo says that he and the president had a very good conversation during the meeting, which Cuomo says he initiated. Though if there were any big promises or commitments from President Trump for New York, Cuomo did not characterize those. And so far, as I mentioned, at the president's briefing, which started a few minutes ago, he hasn't announced any headlines from the meeting with Cuomo.
At the White House today, Governor Andrew Cuomo says he told President Donald Trump New York no longer needs the floating Navy hospital parked in its harbor.
The president sent up a Navy ship, the Comfort, which was a hospital ship, which, by the way, was very good to have in case we had overflow. But I said it did give us comfort, but we don't need it anymore. So if they need to deploy that somewhere else, they should take it.
That New York no longer appears to need the additional hospital capacity is one sign of progress. Now, an aggressive new goal, as the governor described it, is to double the number of tests from 20,000 a day to 40,000 a day, a goal he says President Trump seems to understand.
It's a very aggressive goal, and we said that we would work together to meet that goal. So it was a very good conversation.
While the governor and the president have had their differences in recent days over who's responsible for testing and who gets to call the shots on reopening.
Well, I have the ultimate authority, and that's the way it's got to be.
He basically declared himself King Trump, right?
Governor Cuomo also said the two Queens-born Poles shared an emotional moment about the devastating impact this pandemic has had on their hometown.
He made exactly that point. He spoke about how he's never seen the city this way.
About a minute ago, President Trump just said at his briefing that he shares the governor's goal to double the number of tests performed in New York State within the next few weeks. He also said the country wants to get back to work, though Governor Cuomo said today he felt no pressure from President Trump during that meeting to reopen faster than he would like. Governor Cuomo has really worked both sides of this relationship with President Trump. He's praised Trump to help him get what he needs, and he's also slammed Trump when it's been politically expedient to do so. For instance, nonstop throughout 2018 when Governor Cuomo was running for re-election. Chuck?
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. Now, the rate of infection may be declining, but the number of diagnoses and deaths continues to rise across the tri-state. Here's where things stand right now. Combined, there are more than 364,000 people who have been diagnosed with COVID-19, and more than 21,000 people have died from it across the 3 states. It was New Jersey's deadliest day since the pandemic began over the last 24 hours. 379 lives lost in the second hardest hit state in the country. Governor Phil Murphy showed no signs today of reopening business anytime soon. That uncertainty is looming, especially over the Jersey Shore. Businesses are worried that beaches may be closed for the start of the summer because of COVID-19.
A town in Fairfield County is going airborne with high-tech help to flatten the curve. Westport police are using drones to monitor social distancing. Outside of a local grocery store, you see people in line, and when someone gets within 6 feet, the green circle glows red. An officer back at the station can then see that and give an audio reminder to socially distance through that drone.
For days, Mayor de Blasio has been urging people to report anybody breaking social distance orders, and one person did that yesterday in the Flatiron District. And police discovered more than just social distancing violations. A massive pot party was raging. News 4's Adam Cooperstein reveals what else the police found.
When someone alerted police about a crowd gathering inside this shuttered Flatiron building, they say they found a group of 40 people having a party, celebrating pot, and flaunting rules meant to protect us.
Can you tell me what was happening inside?
It was a party straight out of Animal House, police say. Pot smoke filling the third floor of this Flatiron building where 38 people broke in to celebrate 420, the unofficial marijuana holiday.
I didn't think it was a party. I thought it was more of like a social distancing event.
Whatever it was, gatherings are banned in New York. So after a tip by a concerned citizen at 4:20 p.m., police say, they busted the party on West 23rd Street, organized by a marijuana edible company, and confiscated a duffel bag of weed, dishing out 41 summonses.
Some like friendly friends, they said it was a holiday party, but you had to bring your mask and gloves if you wanted to participate.
The bust comes just 2 days after cops broke up another illegal gathering inside a barber shop in Canarsie, Brooklyn, where the NYPD says 60 people were given summonses.
Don't want to give summonses and violations and fines if we don't have to, but some places people have been resistant. They're going to get those fines. We certainly don't want to arrest people in this environment, but if we have to, we will.
The mayor encouraging New Yorkers to report people having gatherings or not obeying social distancing rules by calling 311 or taking a photo even and sending it to the 311 app. In Flatiron, Adam Cooperstein, News 4 New York.